This episode is rated M for mature audiences. The views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect those of the PFC Entertainment Network or any of the affiliates that make this show possible.
This is the Pure Fury Creations Entertainment Network.
And we welcome you to On This Day in the 1980s here on the PFC Entertainment Network. Along with Jill Bayn, I'm Jason Clouse. We certainly appreciate you tuning in here. Kind of an impromptu live stream recording of this week's episode, but there is a method to the madness. And what I mean by that, Jill and I talked about this before we came on the air. This gives people who are not necessarily professional football fans something to watch while their significant others or family members or whatever may be glued in front of the TV. Now, as we're recording this live on a Sunday afternoon, the Detroit Lions are actually playing later on this afternoon when they're in Green Bay. But there are a lot of other marquee games that are going on right now. So you're welcome. This gives you something. This gives you something else to tune into. We're going to be sitting here for the next hour or so, looking back on this day in the 1980s. But we are, in reality, recording this for our Wednesday drop. And as this show drops in its normal time slot on the RSS feed, it will be September the 10th. So we're going to look at September 10th in the 1980s. However, if you are watching us live right now on Facebook, YouTube, or Riverside.fm, you are invited to be a part of the show. You can correspond with us in the live chat on Facebook. There is a link posted right there that if you hit that link, it takes you into a virtual waiting room. I get the notification. I hit the button. Boom, you're on the show with us as we're doing this. And there's a lot of fun shit that we're going to talk about during the course of this week's episode. But before we get to all that, Jill, good to see you. How's things in your neck of the woods?
Good to see you. It's not too shabby. Yesterday sucked. I could not wake up for nothing. I was like a zombie all day yesterday. So today I'm awake. And
well, thank God for that.
Yeah. Or this would be a completely different show today.
Mm-hmm.
How are you doing?
Hey, I'm great, man. If I was any better, I would be asking questions. But no, things are good. We went to the Michigan State game last night, where Jill and I work our shoot jobs, as it were. An opportunity had presented itself where they were given, or we had the option to score some tickets to the Michigan State football game. I have been a lifelong MSU fan. Look, I don't need your shit comments, so just leave it be. But I had never been, and so I was able to take my girlfriend down, and wound up having a great time. And we got back here later on in the evening, and I was kind of. The thing with the weekend, Jill, and I don't know if it affects you the way that it does me, but if I have a 1-day weekend, I can pretty much maintain my normal third shift schedule because I am a third shifter. But you get me on a 2-day weekend, my sleep schedule gets all jacked up because I'm trying to live real people life. You know what I mean? Because most people live a first shift life or a second shift life. I it messes with me bad. So
Yeah.
and it takes me another day or two to get back to a third shift schedule. So while I am awake, thanks to our good friends over at Death Wish Coffee, um, I worry about what tonight's going to look like when I go back to work around that 3 o'clock hour.
Yeah.
Um, but it's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. I mean, I've been doing this shit long enough on this schedule. It won't take me long to rebound at all. But by and large, I'm doing really well. So thank you
Good.
for asking.
Yeah. I had given, because I got the tickets too, and I had given them to a couple of coworkers, and we went to meet up so I could give them to him yesterday. And she was like, "You gotta." She's got a little 3-year-old, and he is just so fucking cute.
Hmm.
He was dressed up like Buzz Lightyear, sound asleep, but dressed up like Buzz Lightyear, and oh, I was like, "Oh my god, he's so cute, just
To
adorable."
infinity and beyond, as it
Yep.
were. Yeah.
I mean, it was good to see them outside of work, but the highlight of that whole thing was just seeing him in his little Buzz Lightyear suit.
Let me ask you this real quick, as a sidebar, because you just mentioned something. You know, most people in their professional lives, in their work lives, we work alongside people 8, 10, 12 hours a day, 5, 6, maybe sometimes 7 days a week. In that environment, in that building, do you find it to be a weird dynamic when you see them or you run into them outside the plant or the office or the room that you work in, or is that just me?
Um, well, because I don't, a lot of the people that I work with live closer to the plant than I do, so I really don't have that. Now, there have been a couple of times there are some people that live here in Saginaw that, like, I'll see them at Walmart or something. But for me, that doesn't happen very often. Usually, if I've seen someone outside of work hours, it's because we're meeting up for lunch or meeting up to trade tickets for
Hmm.
looks at a baby kind of thing. Um, but yeah, I really don't run into a whole lot of people from work.
Generally, if I do, it's by accident. And
Hmm.
if I could be so bold, I know this is I know this is going to ruffle feathers, but I don't give a fuck. It is what it is. I will steer clear of them because the ones I generally run into are not the ones that I care to see outside of work. I mean, it's one thing if I'm getting paid to communicate with you, but I don't have at this stage. I don't have a lot of I don't have a lot of work friends. You know what I mean? There
Yeah.
is a handful of them where I genuinely like these people as people, but the vast majority are ones that I get along with because I'm paid to. You
Yeah.
feel me? And I
Hmm.
know that makes me sound like an asshole. I totally understand that. But at the same time, you have to look at reality, or at least I do. I look at reality in such a way that I'm very calculated with my time
Hmm.
and who I spend that time on and with.
Yeah.
And just because of where we work, there are people from all walks of life. Now I can get along with just about anybody and everybody if
Hmm.
I have to. But you get me outside the work environment and like I will do everything I can to shut that shit down. Because once I clock out, I do not give that place a second thought. Samantha will ask me, how was work last night? And my answers are direct and to the point. It's either good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah.
And I don't usually really spend a lot of time telling stories about what happened during the shift last night because they get enough of my time. That place gets enough of my time. And the only reason
Yeah.
why I'm there is because they pay me.
Yeah.
And once I clock out, I'm out. Like 100%. I've had people call me on my personal time to talk to me about work shit,
Nope.
and like I will immediately shut that. I will shut it down. Supervisors, I don't even care. Like you were calling me on my time, and I ask them point blank, "Am Am I getting paid for this phone call?
Right.
No. Then I'll talk to you at 11 p.m. As soon as I start getting paid, by all means, come on down. Look, let's have a conversation. But
Right.
unless you're
Chat with
paying me, I'm not interested. Does that make me an
Yeah.
asshole?
No, I get it. Now, I will tell you, the team I'm on, and I've said this before, I'll say it 100 times. I started as a temp in 2012. I have never been on a team where everybody gets along until now. Like, the team I'm on, I absolutely love the team I'm on. And there are 4 of us on this team that we're fucking hilarious.
I can imagine.
And like, I'll come home and I'll tell Roy like a funny conversation or something like that. But other than that, no. I'm going to take that back this weekend because the job I worked Friday, there's a lot of steps. And of course, we worked 9 hours on Friday. So by the time I got to my car, I had 32,000 plus steps that I would. So I'm going to tell you,
Damn,
this
girl.
is not the first time I've mentioned those 32,000 plus steps this weekend.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can understand that.
Over 13 miles, if you're wondering.
I was just going to ask you, what does that equate to in terms of mileage or actual distance? That's a lot. That's going down and back the Mackinac Bridge if you were to make that walk over the Labor Day thing. Which leads me to this: have you ever done the Labor Day walk across Mackinac Bridge?
No, sir.
Would you be interested in something like that?
How high would I be before crossing this bridge?
Fair enough. Have you ever been on the Mackinac Bridge?
Yes.
You've driven past it or over it, right?
Yep.
Does it freak you out?
A little bit.
Does it?
High. But I figured now that I've been in a plane, maybe it won't be so bad. But that's a long way to go down. No, I don't know. Maybe I guess maybe if it wasn't a windy Labor Day, I could possibly do it. Not high.
Every year, because you see those road signs on the side of the expressway, the digital ones, and they'll tell you in the week leading up to Labor Day, the bridge is going to be closed on this day between these hours and stuff like that. And it's at that point I start thinking, I've never done that. And I have such a fascination with the Mackinac Bridge because, of the way it was, constructed. And it's one of the icons of our state, and I've seen documentaries on how they constructed this thing. It's just one of the true marvels of the world. And I don't think about it until that week of, and it's like, do I really want to drive all the way up there and deal with all the traffic, all the people? But I feel like at this stage, like next year, I'm going to be 50, right? So I feel like my window of opportunity to do this and actually enjoy it without stressing out about something, I feel like that window is closing. So as I'm approaching my 50th year, I feel like next year I'm going to be doing this. So, and I think we should make this a PFC thing.
You know what?
We'll put some mobile equipment on us. We'll document this shit as we're doing it. I think that would be fun, actually.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. All right. Well, mark your calendars right now. Okay. And especially those on the PFC network family that tune in and listen to this. Mark your calendars. We're doing the Labor Day walk across Mackinac Bridge next year, Labor Day of 2026. So it's in the book. All right.
Sorry, everyone.
That's going to be cool. It's going to be cool. I have no doubt. At least we can all say, yep, we did it. Yeah. We may never do it again, but we did it at least once. Yeah. So All right. We are going to be looking at September the 10th in the 1980s this week as this show drops on the RSS feed. And obviously, the day after is September the 11th. And before we get into the 1980s, it seems like we would be remiss if we don't at least acknowledge the proverbial elephant in the room when you're
Hmm.
talking about September 11th. This is arguably the darkest day in American history.
Hmm.
You know, when you think about 9/11, all and everything that went down in 2001, which is crazy to me that we're over the 20-year mark, over the 20-year mark at this point.
Hmm.
25 years. It's insane to me because this is one of those things that I am so fascinated with. I cannot learn enough of. I've spent all week in real time watching all kinds of documentaries. Some I've seen before, other ones I've seen for the first time. Like I put this right up there with the assassination of John Kennedy, and anybody who knows me knows how fascinated, almost obsessed with the tragedy that happened with him. This is on a different level because I remember this day as it happened.
Hmm.
So I wanted to take a moment here this week because tomorrow, the 11th, is the actual anniversary, and I want to take this moment to remember those who were lost on that day,
Hmm.
needlessly lost on that day, and just kind of reflect on what was truly just a horrific event. Um, Joe, I don't know what you want to say about it, but well, like I said, I can remember everything happening, unfolding in real time.
Yes.
I can remember how I found out about it. The first time I saw the images, which was hours after the fact, because I didn't have TV at that time at my
Hmm.
apartment. I was listening to the shit unfold on the radio.
Yeah.
So to get that perspective and then actually see the pictures later on in the afternoon, it was just like, wow, this is a fucking movie.
Hmm.
This does not happen in America. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. It was
people,
definitely crazy.
yeah. So we wanted to take a moment and just acknowledge,
Hmm.
remember, everything that happened, all the lives that were lost on September the 11th of 2001. So Um, let's go ahead and turn that corner. Let's pick up the tempo a little bit and look at what happened on September 10th in the 1980s. Now, truth be told, and to pull the curtain back, Jill and I were in the middle of recording last week when my phone started blowing up and I had to pause the recording session with the intent of picking the recording back up later on in the day or the next day, and it just didn't happen. But I can tell you that I'm not mad that that happened that way because we didn't have a whole lot of we didn't have a lot to work with in terms
Yeah. And
of
that's what you were saying. Because when he does this, I don't do it. I just react and give my 2 cents.
right.
So, and that's what you had said, that there wasn't a whole lot, that maybe we could stretch it to a half an hour, maybe.
Maybe
So,
40 minutes with sidebars, but like I didn't have a whole shit ton to work with. Now I'm going to tell you, as a precursor to this week's episode, there is a lot of sports in here, some of which is based on professional wrestling, and I'm not going to spend a tremendous amount of time on it. I will make mention of it because they make mention of it, but a lot of cartoons are mentioned in this one. And now, I
really?
know you wouldn't think, but then I started thinking, well, this is the start of the fall season. This is when TV shows were premiering and cartoons were premiering
Yeah.
in the 1980s. And now, if you were an 80s kid, cartoons were a big damn deal.
Oh, yeah.
It's something that we looked forward to. Do you remember, Jill, when they would have prime time specials? Every network had a primetime special for like 30 minutes, and they previewed what your Saturday mornings were going to look like. Do you remember those?
Honestly, I don't.
Oh man, I could not wait for these things because it was somebody's. One year was Michael J. Fox, and NBC had hired him to host a 30-minute preview of the new cartoons and the cartoons that were renewed for that year's upcoming fall season.
How
And
did I not
man,
know this?
I don't know, but ABC had it, CBS had it, and NBC, the three major networks before before cable became the powerhouse that it is. And we had the three major lettered networks. And the Michael J. Fox one, I want to say it was 1987. Family Ties was still very much a big thing
Yeah.
at this point, but they did one for the cartoons and one for your sitcoms and things of this nature. But the cartoon one, man, I vividly remember because they would run the ads for it, and it would be in TV Guide, which was a big thing back in the day.
Yeah.
This is the day that this is going to air, and man, my brother and I sat down. It was at 8 o'clock on. It was 8 o'clock on a Friday night because Friday nights there wasn't a whole shit ton of things going on. It wasn't must see TV back then, but
Right.
8 o'clock on a Friday night, usually towards the end or the very beginning of August, or the end of August going into September. This was appointment television because we wanted to see what was coming. Um, so there is a lot of cartoon talk with
Okay.
this, and
I'm not
and
mad
some of
about
these,
that.
yeah, this is going to be cool. This is going to be cool. But before we get to that part, let's go ahead and look at the birthdays of prominent 1980s figures that were born on this day. For example, what a terrible way to start this. Golf star Larry Nelson was born in 1947. Um, Professional wrestler Don Morocco, the Magnificent Morocco,
Yep, I remember
was
that name.
born in 1949, as was journalist Bill O'Reilly, was born on this day. Where you at on Bill O'Reilly? Do you have an opinion on him one way or the other?
No, I don't watch it.
You're not missing anything, if I can be honest with you. I am very, very sure that you are aware of one Joe Perry, the
Yep.
guitarist for
For
Aerosmith.
Aerosmith, yep.
Yes, ma'am. Born on this day in 1950. In 1951, Bill Rogers of golf, well, he was a golf star, born in Waco, Texas. Pat Mestilato, the drummer for Mr. was born on this day in 1955. Mr. was would you consider where would you put them? I forget about this band until
Look.
I hear the name and it's like, what a weird fucking name for a band.
Yeah.
Where,
I loved them.
did you?
Yes.
See, I feel like you would have, and that's why I made mention of it.
I
What would you
absolutely loved Mr. Mister.
what's your favorite song by them?
On their welcome, well, of course, that back then cassettes. Welcome to the Real World. There was a song called Tangent Tears, and I liked that one.
Okay. All right. Actress Kate Burton, made famous in the movie Big Trouble in Little China, was born on this day in 1957. In 1958, the singer Shayaban Fahy from Bananarama was born. Was Bananarama an Irish band? For some reason,
I'm not sure.
she's Irish. It says here Irish singer, but I didn't know if she was just part of the ensemble or if the band was based in Ireland. I, I don't know. All right. 1963, baseball player Randy Johnson, the big unit, was born. One of the most intimidating pitchers in his day. Like this dude was like 6 foot 7 inches tall, and like he was an imposing figure. I don't know if you've ever seen the sports clip of the pitcher who threw the ball and it hit a pigeon that came in. Okay, that was him.
Oh, damn. Okay.
One of my favorite clips from base. Okay, I know you're not a sports fan. This is a complete sidebar. I know you're not a sports fan.
Are you going to talk about the Karen?
Yes, I am.
Oh.
You've seen this, right?
Oh, yeah. Repeatedly, yes.
For
now,
those who, okay, go ahead.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Here's my thing.
Okay.
I could maybe, and I do not side with her at all. Let me just preface by saying that I think, I won't say what I think, but it's not nice. I can kind of understand her frustration a little bit because that guy was sitting in another section. If that would have been his seat, does that make sense?
Makes sense, sure.
But to me, once you saw it go in that little boy's hand, walk away.
Right.
Walk away. And I will say that both teams stepped up for this kid in the end, which good on both of them. But no. And someone did a little video about here's your ball, and it's like a slow-mo ball coming at her face, and she falls, and there's blood, and that was beautiful.
Now, I can understand, I can appreciate and respect your take on this. I can, and I do. As a lifelong baseball fan and seeing how many games have I watched over the course of my life, when a home run ball is hit, especially in a stadium where there's a lot of openness, like it's not a sellout. There's a lot of open seats, a lot of open area.
Yeah.
People will, nosedive over rows of seats to get to these home run balls, especially with this being a Philadelphia Phillies fan, and it was a Philadelphia Philly player who hit the home run. When you go see your team on the road, especially with something like Miami, you really you will do whatever you got to do to get that ball, especially if you're there with your young son. And you're absolutely right. Once that bitch saw that the ball went into the glove of that young kid, it should have been done. It should have been over with. But
I wouldn't even have approached. That was bullshit. That was complete bullshit.
If she had it in her hand and he grabbed it out of it, that's one thing. But she didn't have, from the way I saw it, she didn't have sole possession of that ball. So as a dad, I'm doing the same fucking thing. I'm going after that
and
ball.
I do get that, and that's what I'm saying. I could see a little bit of maybe that's why she was pissed, but still. And like we were talking before recording, I've been to one baseball game in my life, so I don't have like a lot of experience with being in a crowd and a ball coming at you or anything like that. That shit sucked.
We're gonna let that one lie.
Okay. So and I get if it's open, then yeah, go ahead. And I didn't see it in her hand at any point. And my whole thing is once that goes in the kid's hand, it's over.
It's over. Let it go.
Sit back down or stand up and cheer. But you don't. I don't know. And maybe it's just me. I'm a non-confrontational person. I would have just let it go. But I also don't have a sense of entitlement like that.
Oh my God. I couldn't believe what I was looking at. I'm like,
Mm-mm.
oh, you bitch, you don't even know what you've done. Well, now she
Mm-mm.
does
Yeah, because
because
I did read, and I could be wrong, or maybe it was false information. I don't know. That she was a school administrator and she has lost her job
that's
because
my
of
understanding.
comments on the, I believe, New Jersey school district's Facebook.
Hmm. Yep, it's my understanding as well as she was relieved of her duties, and man, I hope it was worth it to you. You know,
I guess that's the case. Fuck around and find out.
yeah, 100% in its purest form.
Hmm.
Now I'm going to be honest. I don't feel bad about it. Is it a little
No.
excessive? Maybe. You
Yeah.
could make an argument for her to lose her job over this. But like I had talked to my girl about it, and you know, had told her I think she lost her job over this, and she's like, well, was it that important to for her to be fired? And I had said, I don't know, based on her demeanor and her chatter online, I feel like this was something in the works for a long time, and they were just looking for a reason to sever ties.
It
And
could be.
and she gave them all the ammunition that they needed. Again, I'm just speculating. I don't know, but what I do know is the way she conducted herself in that moment was less than ideal. And kudos to the Miami Marlins
Hmm.
baseball team and their public relations, people that came out with a swag bag for this boy and his sister who was there.
Oh,
So
okay. I didn't know that.
yeah, so I really did appreciate that. And the player that hit the home run for the Phillies heard about this.
And signed the
And
bat.
yeah, they invited the family back to the clubhouse and he signed the bat for him that he hit the home run with, which class act. I'm not a huge Philadelphia fan of their baseball team, but I really did appreciate that. So
Yeah.
just
And
wanted,
whether or not this is true, I believe it was the little boy's birthday.
yes, yep. Sure was. So that's going to be a birthday he's never going to forget for for a number of reasons.
Hmm.
Okay, back on track here. Sorry with that sidebar, but Randy Johnson popped up here, and I was like, "Oh, God!" We make no mistake, we will be talking about this live Tuesday night on the Sports Reel podcast with Tim Sheridan and Eric Mandel, and I'm very curious, especially Eric. He, this dude is I am really enjoying his participation on that show. So I have no doubt he's going to have an opinion about this. So I'm looking forward to that. Tuesday night, 6 p.m., live on the PFC network. Okay. A couple more birthdays here. 1968, Big Daddy Kane, rapper, was born on this day in Brooklyn, New York. And director Guy Ritchie, the former Mr. Madonna,
Yep.
born on this day. As a fun fact, because we mentioned the magnificent Morocco, Don Morocco, won the Intercontinental Championship on January the 22nd of 83. It was his only title that he won in the WWF. He would lose it about a month later to Tito Santana. So thought that was fun. All right, other notable birthdays. Arnold Palmer. Everybody knows who Arnold Palmer is, right?
Hmm.
Now, he would pass away at in 2016. But do you know that upon his death, his net worth was $875 million. Most of it coming from the Arnold Palmer iced tea drink, not his golf winnings, not
That's
his golf
crazy.
endorsements. The fucking iced tea, the half tea, half lemonade. You
Which is
believe that
gross.
shit?
I don't like it.
No, not a fan.
Nope. I love iced tea and I love lemonade. So you would think that'd be great. Nope. I even love lemon iced tea. Don't like the. Nope.
Okay. I'll just let it go. I can't make. Okay. Also born on this day in 1934, baseball player Roger Maris, who gained his fame when he broke Babe Ruth's single season home run record in 1961. Was part of a movie made by Billy Crystal. You don't even have to be a baseball fan to appreciate his story, just how much bullshit he went through, because that was a record. Babe Ruth is on the Mount Rushmore of sports figures for a lot of people, not just baseball, but people know who Babe Ruth was.
Mm-hmm.
And as Roger Maris was approaching breaking this record, fans just were not having it, and they were doing everything they could to derail him. It was the subject of a movie, like I said, made by Billy Crystal. The sidebar to that, and the reason why I mention this, is because a lot of that movie was filmed here in Detroit, because the scenes that they're playing in Yankee Stadium was actually filmed in Old Tiger Stadium. So,
Oh.
and Joe Johnson, who was our director at ONTV, he worked on that film as an extra. He was part of the press corps. So
Okay.
he
That's
got
pretty cool.
he got to spend a handful of days on set while they were filming those scenes at Tiger Stadium. So a little fun fact, a little close to home here.
That's cool.
Yeah. All right. People who passed away on this day. Actress Jane Wyman. You familiar with her?
Mm-hmm. I
Yeah.
know it's Ronald Reagan's first wife.
Yes, ma'am. And English actress Diana Rigg played Olena Tyrell in the TV show Game of Thrones. Did you ever
I
watch
love.
Game of Thrones?
Yes.
Did you?
Yes.
I ain't seen one episode of that.
I have Game of Thrones leggings and socks. Actually, Rachel found at Dollar Tree the different houses, the socks. So she bought them for me. So I have like 4 pair of Game of Thrones socks. 4 or 5, I don't remember.
Far be it for me to say anything, because you look behind me and I got a shit ton of action figures of the Undertaker. So who am I to say anything? I get it.
I actually, my cover up, I had a little dove, and a few years back I went and had it covered up, and I got the dire wolf with Winter is Coming as a cover up tattoo.
Okay. Look, anybody that has a fandom of that level, I can get behind it and I can appreciate it. I really can. Because again, you look in my studio here and it is wall to wall wrestling shit.
Mm.
Some PFC stuff scattered around. Obviously my kids and my girl, and
Mm.
but 90% of it's wrestling. So I can appreciate that. When you look over my left shoulder, those are all title belts. That one right there is Hulk Hogan's. It's
Yeah.
red and yellow. You really can't tell, but it is. All right. Movies released on this day. I ain't seen them, and I don't think I've even heard. Well, the one I've heard of, but I didn't see it. In 1980, The Exterminator with Robert Ginty, Samantha Agar, and Christopher George. I don't know any of these people. Do you?
Nope.
Have you seen this?
Mm-mm.
It had a budget of $2 million, and the box office, surprisingly, upon research, 35 million. So it must have been popular back in 1980. I just don't recall hearing about it up until now. And then in 1982, Robert Urich and JoBeth Williams starred in Endangered Species. Um, Now this was a flop. It doesn't even tell you what the budget was, but it only brought in $1.4 million at the box office. So
Oh.
I gotta believe that the whatever distributor put this movie out lost their ass on it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's unfortunate. All right. 80s television. And this is the meat of the show this week. In 1981, we got the premiere of Best of the West. It premiered on ABC, ran for one season and a total of 22 episodes. I don't really recall that particular show. Do you?
No.
Best of the West?
Mm-mm.
I haven't either. Now, in 1983, the animated premiere of ABC's The Littles debuted on this day. 3 seasons, 29 episodes. You remember watching the Littles?
No.
Jill Bayn, goddamn. Man, I do. I feel like I
I
need to
know of it. I just didn't watch it.
stand by for one moment. Because there are going to be some people that they're not going to know what the Littles were, but I have to at least let me exit out of this. All right, I'm going to share this. Oops, get out of here. These were the Littles, and as quirky as they were, like this dude, the aviator, like he annoyed me, but the rest of them were cute as fuck, and I absolutely loved that show as a kid. Now I'm willing to bet that if I was to go back and watch it, it would probably cringe me out. I'm not gonna lie,
Probably. Yeah.
but I back back then, man, I was all about it. Also in 1983, Rubik the Amazing Cube made its premiere. Also on ABC. Now this only ran for one season and only had 13 episodes. So by and large, people probably missed this one, but I do remember watching this. I thought it was the drizzling shits. I think I gave it 2 episodes, and then when that show came on, I probably switched over to CBS for whatever they had going on. Do you remember Rubik, the Amazing Cube?
I don't, but I will tell you in 83, I did not yet have control of the TV. I had to wait in line. I was the youngest, so it was my brothers at that time that had control.
That's unfortunate, but I get it. Let me see if I can pull up an image here. Rubik, the amazing pops right up. Phenomenal. Yeah, and I'm gonna pull this up, Jill, and you're gonna understand why this thing didn't last. But what did I say?
One
13
season.
episodes. Yeah, look at this shit. This is Rubik. The now I look at this thing, and I
Mm-mm.
see some influence of the Great Zoo from what was it?
Yes.
The Flintstones.
Yes.
Um, but other than that, creepy. And again, I think I watched this thing twice, and I just couldn't do it.
Mm-mm.
So
I no. I don't remember that, and I'm kind of maybe I blocked it out. I don't know.
probably because I must have up until I saw it on here, and I was like, oh my god, yep, sure enough. Now their opening theme was sung by Menudo. Now that I do remember.
Okay.
Yeah. Now Menudo was, one of the they would be a boy band obviously,
Mm-hmm.
but when you think about the term boy band, now people will by and large incorporate the earliest incarnation of the boy band. You could make the argument that it was the Beatles just because of how popular they were when they came over here. In the 1980s, Menudo was a big damn deal.
They were.
And so even their influence could not save this piece of shit that we know as Rubik the Amazing Cube. All right. Also in 83, also on ABC. ABC rolled out the carpet here, man, in 83. Like they really, I feel like this was the first year they really dove headfirst into the Saturday morning cartoon craze. But the new Scooby and Scrappy Doo show premiered on this day on ABC. Ran for 7 seasons, 56 episodes. I'm going to tell you something. Back then, even back then, I hated Scrappy Doo. I cannot stand that son of a bitch.
Thank you. I don't remember who I was just in a conversation with in the last couple of weeks, and we were talking about it. I believe it was somebody at work, and I said I hated Scrappy Doo, and they thought I was evil for that. I absolutely hated Scrappy Doo. So thank you for also hating Scrappy Doo.
Oh my God, I hated Scrappy Doo. And he wasn't even portrayed as an asshole back then. He was just, what was he? Was like the nephew of Scooby, right?
Yeah.
But man, just the voice and the whole presentation. And
yes.
I think because I had gotten so used to the original Scooby-Doo cartoon with Fred and Velma and Daphne and Shaggy and all that, they took Scooby and Shaggy out of that and put in this little whiny bastard, and it just ruined everything for me. So
Thank you.
When the live action movie came out, not all that long ago, and they when they got to the end of the movie, and like who is the who was the perpetrator in all this, and it wound up being Scrappy Doo. Like that's the one time I popped for him. I'm like, fuck yeah, that's the way it was supposed to be. Rachel says hi, by the way. Hi, Rachel. Thanks
Rachel,
for tuning in here. Okay, 1984 on this day. Now this was one of my favorites as a kid. And it wasn't part of the Saturday morning lineup. This was in syndication. Voltron, the Defender of the Universe. This was the Lions version of Voltron, because if you recall, there were two Voltrons. One that was made by the mechanical lions, then the ones that were made out of cars. The Cars version, in my opinion, was the drizzling shits. Okay, the Lions ones, those were awesome. Now this year, the Christmas of '84 was it was the first time I'd ever seen utter disappointment in my brother's face on Christmas morning, because I got the Lions version of Voltron, the toys. We got all 5 parts of them that made, because they sold them separately. I got all 5 Lions that made the robot. He got the piece of shit Cars. And he was so pissed. And I'm like, I remember reasoning with him, like, why would we have 2 Voltrons? Well, why did you get the Lions? Why couldn't I have gotten the Lions? I'm like, well, I don't know. Why don't you write a letter to Santa Claus and fucking ask him? He was so pissed off. So anytime I think of Voltron, that's one of the things I think of first. But the original Voltron premiered on this day in 1984, ran for 2 seasons with 72 episodes. Loved this cartoon. Were you a Voltron fan? Okay. I ain't mad at you much.
Yes. Won't stay mad long.
Nah. All right.
Said the car ones suck.
Yeah. 100%. Like, I don't even know why they made it. Well, I do know. In retrospect, you look back, they were trying to capitalize on the popularity of the Lions version. And like it was all over the place, man. Like that was a very popular toy. and it was one, it was at a time where Transformers were a big damn deal. And
Mhm.
then off of the Transformers, you got your GoBots and things of this nature, the lower tier knockoffs of them, right? That's what the Cars version of Voltron was. They were trying to capitalize on that popularity. The problem is the characters in it were shit. The the robot itself was shit, and I that's something that I tried to block out of my brain, if I can be honest with you. All right. There's a few more cartoon versions of this, but they're later on in the decade. But in 1986, we got the premiere of it's Gary Shandling's show on Showtime. Gary Shandling, what, Jill? What?
Can't stand him.
We're done here. I don't even know. I don't even know why I do this show with you. What do you mean?
I can't
What do you
stand
mean?
him.
Why?
His voice, and I want to punch his face so bad.
I listen. I guess I can understand. I guess I can understand. But man, did I found him funny. And when he brought his show to Fox, um, he was kind of risque. Like he was really riding that
Mhm.
razor's edge back then. But um, I don't know what it was about him. I really dug him. Like, I found him to be so funny, and I don't know if it's because it was a different kind of comedy that I had been used to, and it was on television at this point because we didn't have Showtime back then. But when he came to Fox, um, I really gravitated towards the show, and then we didn't see him for a long time, and then he popped up in was it Iron Man? He was in one of the Iron Man movies,
I
and I'm
think
like,
so.
holy shit, that's Gary Shandling, and he played an asshole in that. Um, but I loved him as far as 80s comedies, comics. I dug him. Makes me sad. It almost hurts my heart that you don't share that sentiment with me.
Yeah,
But he
I
did
don't
have a
know.
punchable face.
Yeah. And what made matters worse was during that, I had a typing teacher that looked exactly like him. And I wanted to punch him also.
Now, was that an influence as to why you wound up not liking Gary Shandling, or
No,
did you
because
not like Gary Shandling beforehand?
beforehand, because the typing
Okay.
teacher, um, that was, I want to say, and Rachel, I don't want to hear shit about age, so you shut up. I was in high school, so that would have been, I think, my uh, 1990.
Mm,
And
okay.
I know she's going to have something to say. She always does. I'm waiting.
All right. In 1988, the TV show Baby Boom premiered on NBC. It only ran for one season with 13 episodes, based on the movie with Diane Keaton. Were you a fan of the original movie, and did you watch the the TV show, the attempt at a sitcom based on that?
I did watch the movie,
Hmm.
did not bother with the sitcom.
Did you like the movie or no?
I don't care where you were in 1990. I did like the movie. The movie was pretty good. I don't remember a lot of details, but I do remember watching it and I enjoyed it. That much I
Hmm.
remember.
I remember
Where
my
were you
parents
in
watching.
1998, Rachel?
uh oh, it just popped up on my screen, and I was like, what are you talking about? What is happening right now? But it just popped up on my screen. All right. Also in 1988,
Rachel.
Kids
This is for
Court.
Rachel.
Uh, She was
I was
2.
2. You say
Holy,
something. You say something.
2 year. Oh my God. My goodness. Okay. I don't judge, but goddamn, when I see things like that and it puts shit in perspective, it's crazy to me because I look at where I was in 1988, 1990, and it's like, my God in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Truth be told, my girlfriend was born in 1991. Do you know how bad that fucks with me sometimes? Like we don't dwell on it. I mean, she'll make a joke about it every now and again,
Mm-hmm.
but when you put it in that perspective, I'm like, oh my God, like I had experienced so much leading up to 1991. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like I was 15 years old. You know what I mean? And it's like, wow, this is where we are in life. So for Rachel to put that out there, it's like, oh my God. Okay. Okay. Kids Court premiered in syndication. One season, 26 episodes. I vaguely remember
Vaguely.
this
I
being
do.
advertised, but I didn't watch it.
I don't think I did either. I do remember hearing about it, but yeah, I don't think I watched it.
All right. Now, 1988 wound up becoming, as far as cartoons go, this was another big boom in the animation of Saturday morning cartoons. 1988, on this day, a pup named Scooby Doo premiered on ABC. Um, they were really trying to capitalize on the popularity
Mm-hmm.
of Scooby Doo. You know, probably arguably one of the more iconic animated, shows and characters. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, Alf Tales premiered on NBC. Now I know you weren't necessarily a big Alf fan of the TV show. I was, as I documented. I actually looked forward to this show because this was kind of like what we would call a prequel nowadays. It showed what his life was like on the planet Melmac
Mm-hmm.
prior to him coming to Earth. Um, it was a little much for me. I think by the time this rolled through, the show itself was starting to wind itself down, so they were trying to revitalize the interest in the character. It didn't have the same feel, probably because it didn't have the same voice. Part of Alf's appeal for me was the dude that did the voice for him because he was so sarcastic and had
Mm-hmm.
a very unique sound to it. And while they tried to replicate that in the cartoon, it was a miss for me. It did run for 2 seasons, a total of 21 episodes. But I think I watched the first season hoping it would be better, and they just never did,
Mm.
in, in my view. But if you weren't a fan of the TV show, you didn't give a fuck about this. Am
I
I
didn't
right?
even know they made a cartoon.
Yeah, okay. Now this other one, I don't remember at all. The New Adventures of Beanie and Cecil. It was a cartoon and it premiered on ABC. I don't remember the old adventures of Beanie and Cecil. Who the fuck are Beanie and Cecil?
I don't know. Yeah, I that one I don't know. And we love you too, Rachel.
Yeah, she's all right. Um, listen, we gotta keep that ego in check. You know what I mean? You gotta bring her down a little bit. No, in all seriousness, we're so happy to hear from you as we're doing this. All right, albums released on this day in the 1980s. In 1982, I Assassin by Gary Newman. You familiar?
I know Cars. That's it.
Oh, okay. Also in 82, Diana Ross released Silk Electric. This was her 13th album. Oh, it's okay. Henry remembers Beanie and Cecil. I've never heard of this. Never heard of this. I don't even know if it's worth. Oh, God damn it! I guess I better do a Google search. Stand by.
Can you give us a little synopsis of it?
Beanie and okay, here. Wait a minute. What is this thing? What the hell is this? Hang on.
Oh shit.
The hell is this thing? Is this
That
a
looks
turtle?
like Bam Bam.
It does look. It looks like Bam Bam or Elroy Jetson.
Yep.
But is this a turtle? Is this the Loch Ness monster? Is it what the hell is this thing? So I'm assuming Beanie is the kid because he's wearing a beanie. But what is this creature? Oh my God. I'm confused. No, I can honestly tell you I never watched this thing. This has to be like a Loch Ness monster type of thing because he's in the water.
She said rabbit hole time. Whatever that means. I'm going to assume it's something from the show that I have never seen.
All right, hang on. Okay. Beanie and Cecil is an American animated television series created by Bob Clampett for the American Broadcasting Company, ABC. The cartoon is based on the television puppet show Time for Beanie, which Clampett produced for Paramount Pictures beginning in 1949. Okay, so this thing goes back a long time. A short-lived revival, The New Adventures of Beanie and Cecil, was produced in 1988.
So there was Old Adventures.
Yeah. So old that I don't know about them, but be that as it may. Okay, well, I did my part. Again, I didn't watch it, so I don't know. Oh my God. Okay. Where did I leave off? Oh, Diana Ross.
Diana Ross.
Okay. In 1984, we got Dreamtime, the debut album of the Cult. In 1985, we got Knee Deep in the Hoopla by Starship. This was their debut album, featuring that classic hit, We Built This City, and Sarah. I don't even know if I should be saying this, but it is on here. So forgive me. This is this is why we put the disclaimer at the start of the show that this is rated M. In 1987, we got the album Songs About Fucking by a band called Big Black. This was their second and final album. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
Me neither. To be honest. Like, I feel weird about even saying, but it is on here, so I guess I had to make mention of it. Let's switch over to sports real quick and kind of cleanse our palate, will we? On this day in 1980, Montreal Expos pitcher Bill Gullickson set an MLB rookie record with 18 strikeouts against the Chicago Cubs at the Olympic Stadium in Montreal. The Expos won the game 4-2 in front of 17,800 people. In 1983, Larry Holmes TKO'd Scott Frank in the 5th round to retain the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the World, and improving his record to 44-0, which was a huge thing back in that time. I do remember that. Cincinnati Reds outfielder Eric Davis hit 3 home runs against the San Francisco Giants. Oh, what else? mentioning. The Cleveland Browns shut out the Pittsburgh Steelers 51-0 at Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh. And in 1989, Boris Becker won the U.S. Open. And that brings us to Jill's main event of this week, the number one songs in America. Earlier in this program, I made mention, or did I say it off air or on air?
I think it was off air, but the two back to back.
Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. For the first time since we started doing this format, one singer topped the chart this day in back-to-back years in the 1980s. In 1980, it was the song Upside Down. In 1981, it was the song Endless Love. Diana Ross. So that was kind of a fun little tidbit. We haven't had that happen yet. 1981 was, of course, her duet with Lionel Richie. So in 1982, we got Abracadabra by the Steve Miller Band. Are you a Steve Miller fan? Kind of overrated, in my opinion.
I don't really listen to the radio much anymore. But if I am listening, I don't skip it if it comes on the radio.
All right. I can appreciate that. I went and seen them at Pine Knobs several years ago. Somebody brought me, or some friends had an extra ticket. They're like, "Hey, do you want to go see the Steve Miller Band?" Yeah, okay. All right. He sounded good. He sounded like the radio. Just one of the most boring shows I'd ever gone to, if I can be honest with you. I don't hate the guy. He's just there,
Not impressed.
I really was not. No, I was not impressed. 1983, Maniac by Michael Sembello. 1984, What's Love Got to Do with It by Tina Turner. 1985.
Her and I share a birthday.
Who, you and Tina? Mm-hmm. Well, if you're going to share a birthday with somebody, that's good company. You know who I share a birthday with? Keisha Knight Pulliam, Rudy Huxtable.
Okay.
I mean, which is cute and all, but come on. Sorry. Sidebar. All right. 1985. John Parr, St. Elmo's Fire. 1986. Venus by Bananarama.
They're English, by the way. I looked it up.
Are they English? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of them's Irish, so I guess they get that international flair, right?
Yeah.
I know I've told you this joke, before, but for those who missed it, one of my favorite jokes from the 80s. Back in the 80s, the Monkees were arrested. Why? Because they tried peeling Bananarama. In 1987, Los Lobos, with their remake of La Bamba in correlation with the movie of The Life of Richie Valens. You a fan of that movie?
I've seen it a couple times, yeah.
Yeah, so sad.
It is.
Was it that? Yeah, the guy that played Buddy Holly in that, he had a very, very small role because, for those who are out of the loop, Richie Valens, Buddy Holly, and the Big Bopper all died in a plane crash. Mm-hmm. And the dude that they hired to play Buddy Holly for that scene, my mom went to school with him.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Marshall Crenshaw, I believe was his name. Yep. 1988, Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses. And in 1989, if you couldn't get further from the proverbial spectrum than Guns N' Roses, we got Hangin' Tough by New Kids on the Fucking Block. And that is what happened on this day in the 1980s. What a shit way to end. New Kids on the fucking Block.
I hated
Oh,
them.
oh, oh. I hit a button by accident and it brought this up. This is fun. We'll end it like this. These are the top selling albums year by year. 1980, The Wall by Pink Floyd. 1981, High Infidelity by REO Speedwagon. 82, Asia's self-titled album. 1983 and 84, Thriller by Michael Jackson. 85, Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen. 1986, Whitney Houston's self-titled album. 1987, Slippery When Wet by Bon Jovi. 1988, Faith by George Michael. And 1989, Don't Be Cruel by Bobby Brown. So, there's that. We'll end it there.
But now, I know I've probably told you before, but one of my favorite shirts was my brother and his girlfriend at the time bought it for me for Christmas. It had like a crude drawing of New Kids on the Block. It was, like a quick draw, and they had this green slime all over them. And it said, Nuked Kids on the Block.
I really appreciate that.
And I wore it, and even after I started dating Roy, and his brother stole it from me and cut the sleeves off.
Oh, man.
And then it was his.
Yeah, at that point, you might as well, right?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. That's too funny. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and start winding this episode down. We certainly appreciate everybody that tuned in here for the live stream, and for those who tune in to the RSS feed on Wednesday. You can check out all of the latest information on this show and all the other great shows on our network by going to pfcnetwork.net, the official website of the Pure Fury Creations Entertainment Network. If you are a sports fan, you can tune in live Tuesday night. I believe we're going at 6 p.m. this week with Tim Sheridan and Eric Mandel for the Sports Reel podcast, where we're going to be breaking down week 1 of the NFL, a look ahead to week 2. So all that, and I have no doubt we're going to be talking about the Karen situation in the baseball, anything that made headlines in the last week in the world of sports. Also, this coming Friday, we will be back on ONTV for the Fatal 4-Way. So we're going to break down all the information in and around the world of professional wrestling. And then Jill and I will be back here next week for another installment of On This Day in the 1980s. Jill, before we get out of here, anything else you'd like to throw out there?
No, just that hopefully tonight at some point, Judy and I will be able to record an episode of Creepy Soup. It's been a rough couple of weeks, and timing has just not been in our favor.
Listen, you guys have had a lot of shit going on. So yeah. I get it. Life happens. Like I said, we were supposed to do this last week, and we were literally in the middle of recording, and life decided to throw a dump of shit in my lap in real time. Sometimes it's just unavoidable. But we are going to get things back on a regular basis here. And again, for all the latest information, check out our socials on Facebook and check out pfcnetwork.net. And if you're so inclined, check out the online store, pfcstore.printify.me, or exclusive fall lineup of merchandise at pfcfall2025.printify.me. With that, go out and be awesome to yourselves and to each other. We'll see you next week on this day in the 1980s on the PFC Entertainment Network.